Now we're going to start out at the very beginning. November 15th, 2001, Microsoft releases the original Xbox. Wes, bring me back to that time. What was the vibe? What was the feelings around this console at or just before release?
Ooh. I was at EB at the time, and it took a minute because we were used to, at the time, we were used to Sony, we were used to Nintendo. We had the Dreamcast, so we were loving video game life. And then
those were the big three: Sega, Nintendo, and PlayStation.
Even though unfortunately that was Sega's last, they were still the big three. And then we hear Microsoft is going to release a game system. Interesting. We kind of, as gamers, we were curious to see what Microsoft was going to bring to the table. Everybody was skeptical, including myself. We had when video game magazines were a thing. We had Next Generation Mag, showing pictures. We had EGM showing pictures, and Die Hard Game Magazine showing pictures, and the pictures look great. But we were like, it's just going to be a computer for your television. Who wants that? Until I got my hands on a controller and it all changed.
So when was the first time you got to experience the original Xbox?
It was E3. It was E3 2001.
Yeah.
Yes.
It would have had to have been, because it came out in November, so they wouldn't have shown it off to the world a year early, a few months early, sure.
Yeah, I believe it was 2001. Went to E3 in LA, and they showed us Halo. They showed us Bloodwake, which was the boat game, and just seeing the water physics was very impressive. They showed us Dark Summit. They showed us a few games. Halo looked okay, but Halo still looked like a PC game. And that was the one they were really banking on. But still, it looked good. And the games they showed us on display looked good. And then a couple months later, Microsoft invited EB employees to go to Dave & Buster's to get a first hands-on on the Xbox launch titles. And when I got a hold of Dead or Alive 3, that was it. I was sold. I couldn't believe what I was playing. I couldn't believe what I was seeing graphically. They showed Halo again, and Halo looked 100 times better than it did a couple months prior.
Oh, wow.
At that point, the excitement started to build for me. And I hyped it up to every customer that I saw coming into my store. And then pre-order started to roll because I was sold. I was done.
That's awesome, man.
Thoroughly impressed. Hey, Microsoft did it. I'm like, Microsoft changed a lot of people's minds from, okay, this is just a computer for my television, to, okay, this is a legit gaming console.
I don't remember what happened with me at that time. It was just, I remember this would have been around the PlayStation 2 would have came out a year prior, right? It came out in like 2000. Was that right for PS2?
Yes, I believe so.
Yeah, because Dreamcast came out in 99.
Yes.
So PlayStation had to come out in 2000. And that's really what was, one of the
And
final nails in the coffin for the Dreamcast.
And GameCube was already out or coming out?
I want to say the GameCube came out closer to it was either 2000 or 2001. I feel like it was 2001. I think it was like right before Xbox. So maybe I'm wrong about that. I'm not sure.
Okay, we got to check our facts on that.
We definitely do. Now, at this time, I had already had a PlayStation and it had a DVD player, and my Dreamcast wasn't, I'll be honest, my Dreamcast really wasn't getting a whole lot of love. I was all about my PS2 at that time. And I had pre-orders for Xbox and GameCube. And this was one of the times where I almost walked away from video games. It's like, well, I'll just play my PlayStation. I'll just become like a casual gamer again. I'll just play my PlayStation, nothing else. So I canceled my pre-orders for Xbox. I canceled my pre-orders for GameCube.
Oof. Oh.
And I didn't buy either one of them on the first day. And some time went by and I started reading more about Xbox. I was like, oh man, I really want to get one of these. Same thing with GameCube. And eventually something happened with both of those systems. I mean, for GameCube, I really don't remember. It was probably like, seeing like Mario Sunshine or something. I don't know what the hell it was, but something brought me back to GameCube. And with Xbox, it was really like a buildup, of reading all these interviews and stuff from people that actually got hands-on experience with it. These people talking it up that I trusted, from different magazines and stuff. And I was like, man, I need to get an Xbox. And this was probably a few months after it came out. Like I was super stoked. After I'd already given up my pre-order, I had to go get one. Luckily, like the Xbox really, it wasn't a challenge to get at that time. I was able to just walk into a store, pick one up. I want to say I got it probably somewhere between 6 months to a year after it came out. One of the Max Payne's games was coming out. I don't know if it was the first one or second one. I really don't remember.
It was probably the first one.
It probably was. And that was like the first thing I played on it was Max Payne. I played that before I played Halo. And Halo I ended up playing later on. But just the hype alone from like all the like the reviewers and stuff. This is why influencers today get free stuff, is because you find somebody you trust and then all of a sudden you're interested in something you thought you wouldn't be interested in.
Man, I was so excited to get my hands on my very own Xbox, on launch day. Like I said, because it took me a while for them to win me over, and when they did, they had me, and that was it. And I was never disappointed from day one.
A question I have for you about that. So you picked this up on launch day. You were hyped.
Launch day.
You were working in the store then, right? You were working at EB?
Yes, sir.
Which games did you pick up on launch day? Do you remember?
I do. I picked up just about every launch title except one or two.
Except for Halo.
I picked up Halo. that was number 2 on my list. Dead or Alive 3 was number 1. Halo, I picked up Oddworld. I picked up, I think, Azaric. I want to say that might have been a launch title. Fusion Frenzy.
Nice.
I picked up Dark Summit. I picked up Bloodwake. I think was a launch title. I picked up.
Yeah, Bloodwake was a launch title for sure.
I picked up quite a few launch titles, except like I said, there was maybe 1 or 2 that I did not. But yeah, I worked with Justin. Justin was a part-timer who loved video games that I hired, and he talked me into buying, which wasn't very hard, just about every launch title, because he was buying every launch title.
Oh yeah, he was super stoked about games. I worked with Justin also, and like he got I won't say that he got everything that came out, but he got a lot, man. He was like all about it all the time. Not that I didn't buy a lot of games, I did too. I think I was a little bit more selective than both of you for sure. But I can't imagine the two of you working together. You probably just egged on each other to buy more stuff constantly. And then we had Big Greg, who was another one that bought a lot of stuff. So it was just, I was like stuck in the middle, and it was like a lose-lose, because I had somebody's always making you buy something.
Always making me buy something. You have to buy this. You have to buy this. I'm like, I don't want to, but you have to buy it. It's good. I'm like, okay, fine. So I bought a bunch of launch titles.
One thing that really stuck with me with the console is its controller. And I don't mean the S controller, which came out later. I mean the Duke. The Duke was what I started playing with. I played through Max Payne with the Duke. And the second game that I remember playing was Halo, which I started playing that in like the beginning of a summer. And basically I played that for like 3 months. I just didn't stop playing that game. I played the hell out of that game. But I played that whole game with the Duke controller. And then I think that fall after that, after my summer with it, whichever summer that was, because I don't remember which one, Then they started releasing the S controller, and I remember getting it and being like, "Oh, well, this is nice. It's a little smaller, but like, I'm really used to this Duke controller now." So I think I kept playing with that for like a while, and eventually switched over to the S. But like, I really like that Duke controller. I don't know why everybody had problems with it. It's not that big.
The Duke, man, yeah, that was the controller it came with, and that's what I got used to. I don't have big hands, and yeah, the controller was a little big the first time you started to use it, but after playing, Halo to completion and using that controller for so long, I got used to it, and then it felt awkward for me to go to the S controller, to the smaller one.
Yeah, it did
And
feel
then-
awkward at first.
And that was the one that everybody kind of gravitated towards because everybody hated the big controller. To this day, my Xbox, when I hook my Xbox up, I have the Duke. I have that big controller.
I feel bad because my Duke's back. I live in California now. For those of you who don't know, my Duke is back in New Jersey, which is where I grew up. So out here, all I have are the S controllers. So I'm playing with them, and I'm just like, man, I miss the Duke, man.
It had some weight to it.
They just announced the other day too. They are re-releasing the Duke again. This will be the second re-release for the Xbox Series X and S.
Really?
Yeah, they're all limited edition ones. There's a black, white, and purple one. They're I think you can pre-order them now on like Amazon and stuff.
I may have to buy that.
Yeah, man, get your Duke on.
The
The only downfall is they're wired. If they were wireless, I would be like all over that. But
True.
It's 2021, man. I ain't trying to play with a cable unless I really got it, Granted, all right, that's a lie because I play retro games and I use cables for some of them. But like, even like my I got like an analog SNES, and that I have a wireless controller for that. So even those games I have wireless controllers for at this point. It's like, come on, man, can't you make your Duke wireless?
But you're talking about a wired controller. I got to give all props to Microsoft on that. Yo, the Duke had a breakaway cable. Come on, man.
Yo,
so that was genius.
It
so
was genius, except
yes.
when you worked at a video game store and people traded that shit in, they didn't have the top part. Like, hey, man, I can't take your controller with the top part missing. Nobody can use your controller without it.
That's true. But it was great. It was great. For those who had kids that were running back and forth, tripping on tripping on the wires, at least your controller stayed intact and the wire just
knocked down the
and,
system.
Oh man, ingenious. Thank
Very
you,
smart.
Microsoft. Very smart. But yes, no, that was the worst when people trade them in. It's like, yo, where's the top part?
Exactly.
And the cables were super long too.
They were long. That was very nice, man.
I like that.
Long cable was great. The game I was really looking forward to was Malice, which I don't know if you guys have ever seen this. Yeah. And Malice was a platformer, and the band, no doubt, was supposed to be like in the game. Like the main character was played by Gwen Stefani, and I was like all about this. I love platformers still to this day, and I was like, this game looks amazing. Didn't come out for like years. It got delayed. It was like in development hell. Nobody thought this game was ever going to come out, and then it just like a week before it came out, I was like, oh, it's coming out next week. Like what? Like, and then it just randomly came out and it was not good.
I remember that screenshot. It made it look so good. It made it like you were looking at a Pixar movie frame. It was like all shadowed and I remember it. And she's like the main character standing there holding the big hammer.
The big hammer, yep.
Yep.
Yeah, that game. You guys might look at it now like, what the hell? But at the time, everybody was interested in that game. Like that game sold me on an Xbox because it was supposed to be an Xbox exclusive. I don't know if I think it ended up coming on like PS2 or something like later on. But it was supposed to be an Xbox exclusive title from the beginning. But yeah, that was a big reason why I wanted an Xbox.